Conor McGregor is one of the best fighters in UFC history. He ended the immense run of Jose Aldo. He became the promotion's first double champ at featherweight and lightweight, putting away some of the Fight Game's all-time greats and making some of them look well below his level. McGregor himself, though, has also looked human. The Irishman stands with a record of 21 wins and 4 losses, but only 2 of those losses have happened during his UFC run, and Khabib Nurmagomedov and Nate Diaz aren't exactly scrubs. More than wins and losses, though, when has Conor had a bad performance? When has he had issues, and when has he looked human? And why? Instead of breaking down the times he hasn't had his hand raised, let's look at his lackluster performances and bad showings, things that have happened both in victory and defeat. For SB Nation MMA, I'm Shaquille Majuri, and here are the less than spectacular moments from Conor McGregor's spectacular career. The first has to be McGregor's earliest loss, one that came over 10 years ago in Dublin, Ireland. In his featherweight debut, Conor faced Artemish Sitnikov at Cage of Truth 3 back in 2008. For a fighter who has looked rather good on the ground, McGregor has also shown it to be his main technical weakness, as he has only lost by submission. Against Sitnikov, it was no different. Always a fast finisher, the very green McGregor's fire burned bright early. Sitnikov was even forced to pull guard, and McGregor proceeded to lay down some solid ground and pound. Sitnikov threw up a few triangles and, in a scramble, lost his guard. He then inverted, grabbing McGregor's leg where he locked up a knee bar, ending the fight seconds later. Even in this fight, Conor showed his potential, but was far too inexperienced on the ground. The Irishman jumped right back on the horse after that loss, however, and got back to work, winning 2 more fights before getting picked up by Cage Warriors for a fight with future UFC signee Joe Duffy in 2010. Again, McGregor found himself in a tough position on the ground against his larger and more seasoned opponent. Early on, the 2 men threw wild strikes, the talent from both men and the aggression from McGregor was clearly evident. Eventually, McGregor was taken down by Duffy with a low ankle single leg. The end came soon after. Duffy was clearly more technical on the ground, passing while McGregor held onto his neck and eventually gave up the arm triangle. McGregor went on a massive streak after that second loss, however, winning 15 fights in a row. All of his fights ended in the first or second round until 2013, when he met another future champion, the Pride of Hawaii, Max Holloway. This was about where McGregor had to handle real adversity. He tore his ACL in the second round during a scramble with Blessed, and the injury changed his entire approach to the fight. He began to force the wrestling more as he lost mobility, but still threw many of his usual insane techniques, making sure not to let on how bad the injury was. The fight was fun and dynamic for the early stages, and McGregor then did what he had to as the fight wore on, maintaining position and slowing the action down. An interesting contest all told, but for the high standard he has set, it could easily be considered one of his, quote, worst performances. A few years later, at UFC 189, McGregor got to test himself against the type of fighter everyone thought could be the answer to his style. Chad Mendes of Team Alpha Male was the opponent. A stocky, dynamic, and powerful wrestler with heavy hands, on paper, had a great chance to upset the rising star. In the early goings, that is exactly what happened. Mendes landed big shots on the notorious Dubliner, his hands were fast, and the threat of the takedown had Conor questioning his movement. Eventually, Mendes was able to take the fight to the ground and pass quickly to mount. At that point, it looked like the fight was on the way towards a swift end. McGregor was taunting Mendes and antagonizing him the whole time he was on his back, but he did not appear to have the answer to Money's grappling. When round 2 came, however, Mendes began to show fatigue. He had blown all his energy trying to finish McGregor in round 1, and as a result had lost a ton of speed and gas. McGregor took the hint and pushed the pace. He ate a few more big shots, but was able to put on the pressure, ending the fight with strikes right at the end of round 2 for a wild come-from-behind finish. One of McGregor's most dramatic fights just in terms of swings and momentum, and once again he showed some glaring holes he needed to shore up. The last fight on this list has to be the start to the insane rivalry with Nate Diaz. A fight that never was supposed to happen, Diaz, a late replacement for Rafael Dos Anjos, came into the fight with low expectations behind him. But, as any fan knows, Diaz is a wild man. McGregor showed some great striking early on against the younger half of 209's most famous siblings. His boxing was fantastic, but at 170 pounds, he hadn't prepared his gas tank well. And, with the pressure McGregor put on Diaz in round 1, the Stockton fighters smelled blood in the water coming into the second round. He layered his volume-style boxing on McGregor, eventually wobbling him and jumping on the Irishman to secure a rear naked choke finish. The fight once again showed Conor's struggles with grappling, but much more importantly, it exposed his lack of elite cardio. While several factors played into McGregor tiring out so quickly, the end result less than stellar performance, but one that had all the drama anyone could ask for. It could be argued that his loss to Khabib Nurmagomedov could be on this list as well, but considering how most fighters look against the Eagle, McGregor did pretty great. Khabib is just out here doing Lionel Messi level things in the cage against the very best. What do you think was McGregor's worst fight, and who's the next UFC legend that needs a closer look at their career highs and lows? Let us know in the comments section below, and if you like this video, we'd so much appreciate a like, a subscription, and you tapping that notification bell to be the first to know about more new videos.